This is my Living Literature Project interview with my sister Alexa. So, how often do you read?
Not too often. If I read, it's usually like in articles online.
Do you have like any reading rituals where a special place where you like to read or something like that?
Most of the time when I read my articles, it's usually like in bed or on the couch or on my laptop at my desk.
Do you have a favorite book as of now?
A good book that I've read is Let the Great World Spin by Colin McCann. I had to read it for my freshman year EN 12 class.
And what is your favorite genre?
If I had to pick a genre, it would be fiction.
Why fiction?
Because it kind of gives you a different way of thinking, and it's definitely a more creative aspect of like literature, and I think it's like more interesting to read than something that's factual.
If you were stranded on a desert island, what would be your go-to book and why?
It would definitely be something that had to do with fiction, like I said, because it's just more interesting to read. And it would probably be like something like Harry Potter or something like The Hunger Games or something like that to read, because it's more entertaining and there's more action.
What works of literature do you feel are essential and that everyone should read?
I think literature, like fiction, is definitely essential because it gives you a different way of thinking and imagining things instead of reading something like a bibliography where it's just like about someone's life. So I think reading something of fiction makes you think a little bit differently, and it could probably teach you certain lessons, or maybe you could even find something about yourself that's like a different way of thinking.
What about your favorite experience with literature?
I would definitely have to say my favorite experience is in my EN 11 and 12 class, because we looked at a lot of different things like poetry, and then also had to read a lot of books. So I feel like it broadened my like way of reading, since I don't usually read and I don't choose to read to like my own leisure. So I feel like from those classes I learned how to read and actually enjoy it.
And what about your least favorite experience with literature?
My least favorite experience with literature is my Imagining Shakespeare class right now, where we have to read and act like before every class, and it's very hard to comprehend because Shakespeare's language is so different from now. So I would say my least favorite experience is trying to read Shakespeare, because it's definitely a challenge.
What about if you had to choose a book to reread, what would be your go-to?
To reread, I would definitely say like books from when I was younger, to see like the difference between how I comprehended it then and now. So I used to read a lot of Judy Blume when I was younger, and I feel like if I had read some of her books now, it would be different and maybe not intrigue me as much as it did before.
And what about your first book that you loved?
If we're going like way back, the first book I ever loved was Goodnight Moon from when I was a kid. I remember just reading it over and over again because I just liked how it rhymed, and I liked the pictures and that aspect. And then as I got older, I started to read less, unfortunately. So I moved on to a lot of Judy Blume after that.
Has literature helped you understand yourself?
In certain ways, yes, because like I said before, like reading fiction makes you think a different way, and especially from the classes here at Fairfield, it helped me interpret life situations in a different way, and sometimes I could even think about those things and from what I've read and apply them to my life today.
What about your favorite book that disappointed you?
I don't think I've ever had a book that disappointed me. I think, if anything, it was being like assigned a book that I had to read and just not enjoying it.
Yeah, I feel that. What about do you think literature can be useful in your line of work?
So I am a nursing major, and I feel like I'm reading a lot of literature in different ways, because a lot of what I read, like that has to do with nursing, is a lot of research studies and case studies, and So I wouldn't say it's necessarily like literature. I'd say more it's articles and like a formulation of statistics. So I feel like in that sense, if we consider that literature, then yeah, it would be essential to the nursing practice.
And do you think working with literature can provide like better use with like working around with your peers?
Especially yeah, when it comes to nursing, like if I'm reading something like based off like evidence-based practices, then it's important to attribute that to my career and to people that I'm working with, because for me to provide like the best care I can and trying to help give quality care, we're taught that like doing things based off evidence-based practice is important. So I would definitely think that reading up-to-date articles on new findings on certain illnesses and like how to treat patients in a better like quality way is definitely important to my future career.
And what do you think about the future of literature in the United States, if you had to talk about that?
I feel like nowadays people are definitely writing more about the United States' like political situation. So I feel like in a sense like a lot of literature is going to be coming out about probably Donald Trump and his administration and what he's going to be doing for our country. And I also think that a lot more fictional and like inspirational books will also be written maybe based off that and just like our current situation and like things that are going on that's like attributing to our history in the future. So.
And what about your reading right now? Anything going on? Anything special that you like?
I don't have anything that I'm reading right now. I'm interested in reading The Girl on the Train because people keep telling me to read that. I'm interested in reading 13 Reasons Why, which I know a lot of people read in high school. But I feel that since that's becoming so popular, I'm intrigued to read the actual book and compare it to the series that just came out.
Well, anything that you can remember who first introduced you to literature?
Definitely our parents. I mean, everybody usually makes reading an important aspect of growing up, like developmentally, and I feel like it's definitely important to start at a young age. So I would say our parents were the first people to introduce me to literature, and then from there it was just school and being assigned books that I had to read, and kind of went from there.
Well, I think that covers everything I had to ask. Thank you for your time, and I hope everyone enjoyed this interview.